Hello and welcome back to Blue Crescent Tarot. My name is Deanne and I am here today to do a little video response to Brant at Moonbaby, and the tarot tag is #TarotCollector. So before I get started, I just have to say that this is my third time attempting this video due to some technical difficulties slash user error on my part, and just need to share that with you because if you are a content creator, you might understand how frustrating it would have been to have to delete 2 videos now, and actually 3 videos, because I actually lost another one, a little side-by-side video I had done for something else. So just wanted to say that I really want to participate in this quite clearly because this is my third attempt and I have now figured out my issues with my camera and we're good to go. But just had to share that. So this tarot tag is made up of 9 questions, and it's just a little bit about getting to know what people have in terms of collections, and it's just always fun to, I think, to kind of answer these questions and see what people have. So anyway, let's get started with the first question, and that is your most expensive deck. So for a couple of these I've cheated and I have pulled 2 because my most expensive deck, the one that I've paid the most money for out of pocket, is this Idiosycradeck, which I just recently got. You may or may not have seen my Babble video about this. So I had seen these. I've been looking for this for a couple years. I'm so very happy to have it, and I would often see them sealed. I wouldn't often see them. I would rarely see them, but when I did, sometimes I've seen them sealed going for $600 or $800. I did just really not have that in my budget. So kept looking. Sometimes I would find one and see that it had sold a week ago. You know, I would search and I thought, oh, I missed it. There was one for $50 or something, like either someone didn't care or they didn't know what they had. So either way, missed out, and then finally was able to grab one that was not $600. So this one is open and used, but it's beautiful and I'm so happy to have it. So this is the one I've paid the most for, but, and I guess it's fine to say, I paid $250 for this deck, and I had always kind of had a little caveat in my tarot budget that I would spend more on this. You know, I would go off my regular budget a bit for this because I wanted it so badly. So the deck that is my most expensive, that's not an out of print, hard to find, well, it might be now, probably not as hard to find, but it's out of print shortly, if not already, is the Mythical Creatures Tarot, and this is my one and only deck by Baba Studios. I'll hold over here because my light. So this I ordered just a few months ago, and I also got some silk wrap bags from the Baba Studios site at that same time, and I've seen their decks before and I think they obviously do beautiful high quality work. Nothing was really standing out to me that I really had to have until I saw this one, and so I got this a couple months ago, very happy with it, and I think this one was over $100 right out of the gate. Is that right? I think so. Now I might be cheating a little again because I bought the big book with this, and so I'm kind of including that with the price. So maybe that's what pushed it over 100. I'm not really sure. I kind of feel like it was 120 for this in the book, but again, I could be off. But I'm quite certain this is my most expensive deck that I bought, like straight from the creator. So there's my convoluted answer for question 1. Question 2 is, what is your least expensive deck? So I pulled up my emails because I figured it would be one of my Hay House tarot decks. Now a lot of those, when there's a Hay House sale, you can buy tarot and oracle for $9, $10, $15, $20, depending on what the original price is, of course. But this one is called the Akashic Tarot. So I had to look because most of them were oracle decks that I had gotten from Hay House on half off sales. So the Akashic Tarot, this is not a standard 78 card tarot deck. So usually I would not count this as tarot. But because this really functions for me as a tarot, it has a set of majors and it has 4 suits. And when I use it, I use it just like I would a tarot deck. So that's why I'm including this. And this was $11, half off through one of the Hay House sales. And it's pretty cool. It's something different if you're just looking to shake things up a bit. I'm really obsessed with anything Akashic, and so that's what drew me to it to begin with. I edged it in this teal, so it comes with naked sides, but I just used teal Sharpie on that. The backs I think are really beautiful, and let me see if I can find an example. So there are people in this deck that I think are, I'm not an art person, so I shouldn't say that. I appreciate art, but I don't know the terms and everything like that, so I don't know if it's like photo collage or something, right? It has real people in it, and that I'm not really crazy about. Like, I think she looks beautiful. Queen of Keys, I think she looks great. But some of them are just kind of cheesy looking, right? I don't know. Because it's real people and then they're just popped into the scene. I don't know. It just looks funny in most cases. But not so crazy that I couldn't get over it. Excuse me. Plus it was $11, so I thought, what the heck, and it's just kind of something different. So Forces is one of the suits, and so here's 8 of Forces is the lightning bolt. And then we have 4 of Forces, which we have as spring and autumn. So it's spring this way and autumn this way, though it's not really, the titles don't show that it's reversible, but you know, the picture does. So so yeah, it's just kind of a different sort of thing. One of Roses, commitment, you know, so it has, so I would think like Ace Pentacles for One of Roses, and obviously this is commitment, so the keyword might not be right with it, and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't say that it lines up. I just like to see kind of if the numbers and titles match up to traditional tarot. But in this case, it doesn't, and it doesn't have to, right? It's just kind of its own thing. Card 19 is reflection, right? So some really beautiful things. So that would be like one of the quote unquote majors. And I'm not even sure if that's what they call them in here. Card 20, will, wisdom, and mind. I guess I don't know why I'm showing so much of this one, just to kind of give it a chance. Because again, I think it's kind of cool if you're looking for something new. And it does have people in it, but they're not like the absolute worst. I don't know. One of Forces, the Akashic Field. So yeah, I pop this one out every now and again, just for kind of something different to do. So, least expensive deck, Akashic Tarot, $11 on a Hay House sale. Number 3, the deck other collectors want to steal from your collection. I would just say, my snap judgment would say Idiosycradeck, because again, it's just hard to find, and whenever it shows up on a buy sell trade site, it's gone like that. So I would probably have to say this. Yeah, I think I'll stick with that. I have some alternative answers, but I think I'll just leave it so I don't make this video incredibly long. So number 4, your strangest deck. Now this one I do have 2 options for, because it's a subjective question, and I'm assuming the challenge is to just pick one. But when I first thought about it, I had written down some notes when I was watching other people's videos of this VR, this tarot tag. And so what I came up with, I thought, well, I don't really have very many what I would call strange decks, because it's just not really my thing. But then I thought, well, some people think the Nicoletta Ceccoli deck is strange, right? So we have 5 of Swords. We have the girl stabbing or attempting to stab the carrot, right? So it has these, I'm so packed in here, Hi, I've once again not cleaned and cleared my tarot space, so it is a gigantic mess and I'm a little squirrel sitting amid all my acorns as always, so I'm just knocking things over. Oh, why am I like this? Let's see. So like I think this is beautiful. 3 wands is this little one up in the tree. Just so beautiful. But I can see, you know, clearly how some people would think it was strange. 5 of wands, we have this kind of snake creature near her. So it's definitely different kind of deck. Right here's the devil. So a lot of people have issues with this or think that this deck is sort of controversial and may have maybe depicting children in what are considered like these semi-sexual scenes, but these, I believe the creator even stated, but I don't believe that these characters are meant to be children. I think they're meant to be small, right? Like figurines of adults. So they're put in childlike positions or scenes. But so here we have the Queen of Pentacles with this bull coming out of her dress. So again, could be viewed as strange. I really love it. I have the big one too, and I just don't know where it is right now because again, mess. But I would say that if you're intrigued by this, to check out Veronica Jude's videos on Nicoletta Ceccoli. This happens to be her soul deck, and she really vibes with it. And she has the big art books by this creator and artist as well. And so that gives some context to the characters, and she really has these kind of beautiful working relationships with them, and has this video where she talks through the different pieces of art that are used for this. And so I would definitely, if you're interested, if you're a Nicoletta Ceccoli fan or you're not, I would suggest watching that video, and I will try to remember to link it in the description. But because I've done this video 3 times and I keep saying different things and kind of mentioning different people, it might be a little tricky, but if I write it down, I will definitely put Veronica's channel in at the very least. So Veronica link. So anyway, I would say that this is one of if not the most strangest deck that I have, because again, don't really have a lot of strange things in here. And I've edged it in this purple and green and blue just randomly. So there's that one. And maybe I can clean this room on my next break, or at least start and find my regular size deck. Okay, so there's that. The other one, I think I will save until later, which I think is the next question. So the other alternate deck that I had for number 4. So number 5, the deck that others are least likely to have. So I do want to mention that I have a one-of-a-kind hand-painted deck that was commissioned for me for my birthday a few years ago, and I do plan to share that, but that's not really the question because obviously no one else has that. So that was the first thing I wrote down when I was taking notes. I was trying to think, you know, wondering what I have that's sort of uncommon. So what I came up with though is the Yoga Tarot, and I'm not really sure who put this deck out. I mean, the creator is, oh goodness, on the book somewhere, I think. But on the side, so here's the front, Yoga Tarot. And I just haven't seen this very much in walkthroughs or anything like that. I think I found maybe 1 or 2 videos on YouTube for this, and I think one of them is not in English, and so I couldn't even really, I mean, I watched a bit of it, if I'm remembering. I think there was 1 English and 1 not English, and so I bought this in like 2013 probably. I think it was the same year that I bought my house, and I had gift cards from my students from the dance studio, and I got this deck and a few crystals. So I think this at the time was like $20 or $25. This now, brand new sealed, is worth $700, which I didn't know until last winter when I looked it up, because this is the only deck also in my collection that I've ever thought, oh, maybe I don't really want that. Maybe I'll sell that or pass it on. You know, I thought I got as far as looking up the value to see what I would post, because again, I've never sold anything online, and I just don't really feel the urge to. So yeah, then I looked it up and found out that I have, you know, what would have been a $700 deck had it been sealed, but I used my stuff. So I think it's worth like $300 or something like that in the condition it is, because the box is beat to hell, but the cards are pristine. I've used it for one round of readings in my Facebook group, and I only overhand shuffled it. So that was the only time I used this. But I haven't, again, really seen it. Lately, someone posted in one of the buy-sell trade groups, and it might have been Arwen Lunch, I'm not sure. But they posted a whole spreadsheet of what's maybe their full collection, or maybe they just have a super giant collection and they're selling off half of it. I have no idea. But this was listed on that spreadsheet. But again, that's maybe the second time I've seen it even really mentioned anywhere. So I think this would be the one others are least likely to have. Here are the backs. And we have the Knight of Wands, just to give you kind of a, and I like it okay. Maybe I just think that someone out there who's into yoga, I mean, I've practiced yoga very lightly, more in conjunction with dance when I was dancing more regularly. I danced in a professional modern company, and we would have yoga sessions and things like that. For certain classes, we would do different style of classes, and yoga was included in that. So, I mean, I have a little knowledge of it, and I really enjoy it, but it's not something that, you know, I daily practice on my own by any means or anything like that. Three of Wands, I'll just show you a couple here. So, yeah, I don't know. Two of Cups, I mean, it's cool. This girl in the tree, right? Like they're the two. So it's nice. And because it has the four corner, like the languages, I think it's Lo Scarabeo. And on the sticker on the bottom says Lo Scarabeo, but the side, like the box, says Llewellyn. So maybe at one point they were one and the same. I don't know why it says two different things. So then, and it has the little white book, and it tells each yoga pose. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. It just, I don't know. Five of Chalices. So, anyway, it's a cool deck. Maybe I just need to use it a little more, see what I think about it. But this would be my pick for the one that others are least likely to have. And it comes with this red pouch and everything. I guess it's kind of cool that I used my gift card from the dance studio to buy the yoga deck. So I don't know, maybe I'll hang on to it. I probably will hang on to it because, again, I never sell anything. And this is the only one I've ever even thought maybe I would pass on. Oh my gosh, a mess. Just leave it, right? Okay. So the deck others are least likely to have. Okay, I think I just won't even mention the other one because I think it's worth doing a separate video for the other deck I was possibly going to use to answer that question. So I'll just wait, and I'll save you all listening to me talk about it. Number 6, the oldest deck in your collection, or the deck you've had the longest. So if you're not someone who collects really old historical decks, you may not have one from however many years ago. And if that's the case, then you would choose the deck you've had the longest. I, again, answered both because I do have kind of one older deck, but I don't really collect historical stuff at this moment in time. I kind of always would like a new beautiful creative thing that's coming out, and so I'd be more apt to spend my money that way as opposed to tracking down some historical Marseille or something. I don't know. I'm not trying to knock it. I just have I have Tarot Serene, Marshmallow Marseille. I have the Seventh Sphere Tarot, which is it's sort of a combination, but it uses pip style, Marseille style pips. So that's kind of like half Marseille, and I have the New Choice. And so you can see what my color palette of choice is for Marseille. I don't really like the traditional colors and the faces and all that. So anyway, getting way off track here. My collection is mostly modern, but I do have a 1986 Mythic, and I bought this on one of the buy-sell trades in a bundle of like 4 decks. And this book is, I mean, it's legit. It's like coming out of the binding and everything, which is fine. Everything is, the pages are in good condition, but I mean, this is the binding on it. And that was disclosed and everything. But, you know, they said I have the original book. And in the bundle that I got, this deck would have come out to be like $40, right? They often go for $100 or $200 depending on if it's open or not. So anyway, I really think this deck is beautiful. I had wanted it. It wasn't just that it was an old collector's deck, but it was actually something I wanted, and that's how I decide. So the cardstock is pretty thin, but it's, I mean, it is what it is. I knew that going in, and I edged it in black because it just had to be done, even though I knew the corners were kind of frayed, and I don't mean in any huge way, but just enough that it was gonna bleed. So like here's maybe like the worst one, like the Page of Pentacles on the corner bled a bit. But I knew that was gonna happen, and I didn't care. I don't mind the black edge on it. I think it's really, looks really great. There is a new release of this that came out a year or so ago, I think. And it's really been cleaned up, and I don't like it. So I like seeing all the little brushy line work in this one. Here's the Ten of Pentacles. And each one has one of the myths. Oh, here's my favorite. The High Priestess is Persephone. And this card actually has a little bend in it back here, but again, nothing terrible. But anyway, this is the oldest deck I've had in my collection, and I got it for a super awesome deal. It really was probably like $35 or $40, just amazing. So that would be part 1 of my answer. And then, not really big on organza bags. Ugh. Okay, that's a problem for a different day. What was my other, oh, so the deck that I've had the longest was actually these 3 decks, which if you've seen the first video I did was my first tarot, which was a VR to Simon at the Hermit's Cave. You will know the story about why I have 3 that I got all in the same day, just because I wanted to, basically. And way back when, this was my first deck, but then I passed that along, I think before I went to college, gave it to a friend. My mom was moving like a couple months after I went to college, and so my stuff all got packed up. It either got packed up to move with her, or it got packed up to go to school with me, and it was just kind of a weird time in my life, and I couldn't keep everything, which is sort of in my nature. I tend to keep everything, and so it was just kind of a weird, hard time. Anyway, I think I got rid of my deck then. So when I got back into tarot, I picked up this one. I picked up this Gilded by Ciro Marchetti, and I picked up the Crystal Tarot by Phillip Permutt. And I have a couple videos about this as well. So Anyway, I would say that this is the one I've had the longest because this is the one I cracked open first and used when I bought my new house and I got back into tarot and I bought these 3 decks. This is the one I opened and used first, and actually you can see the backs of this deck sitting down next to a salt lamp and a candle in my intro video. That was a picture of like my first, before I did my first draw at my magical house where I used to live. So there's that, a long rambling answer. Trying to figure out where to set these so I can still get out when I'm done with this video. Not even kidding. Okay. Number 7, your newest deck. So the first time I recorded this video, my newest deck was Oak, Ash, and Thorn. But because it has been several days since my first attempt, I have gotten, not that I always get a deck every few days, but in this case I happen to, the Marshmallow Marseille has arrived. So this is, now I want to make sure that that's the truth. That's the truth. This is my newest deck. So, so cute. You see the marshmallow on the front? Okay. So this little one had been on my list for quite a while, and when the Tarot Serene came out by the same creator, then I thought, okay, now I just really have to get both of them. I can't resist that little collection. So again, it was a few months before I finally, you know, bit the bullet and did that. So by the time I got around to it, the marshmallow was all gone, and Tarot Serene was only available through like an affiliated link on the creator's site. So I paid like $80 for my Tarot Serene because I was like, oh no, what if that goes away too? So I got that, and then, or I ordered it, and then maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, I got an email from the creator saying, hey, pre-orders for Marshmallow and Serene are back up, which I didn't know, like there was another run coming. So anyway, then I got this one, which I think was like $45. So again, I spent quite a bit for the Serene, but who cares? I have them both now, right? It's just money. This deck is super cute, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, not really into like the traditional Marseille colors or people, and these are still, I think, I mean, Queen of Wands, I mean, it still looks, I mean, they don't look like super modern by any means, like the faces, you know, it's enough for me to be able to handle it. I think this deck is beautiful. Really dig the color palette, and now I have both and I can play with them together, and I just really love that because I love layering and pairing decks. So it has the traditional layout for the pips. What else do I want to show? Traditional Marseille lovers. More about the choice, right? Choice and long-term consequences. So anyway, that's that. I think this deck is beautiful, and that is my newest deck. And then number 8, the deck that made me want to collect tarot. So I think it was my 4th deck, right? So I bought the 3 on, you know, that first day. And then I'm pretty sure the next time I went to the bookstore, I picked up Shadowscapes. So this, in the tarot community, which I wasn't in the tarot YouTube community at the time that I got this. And so I didn't know about its notorious complaint that, you know, there's too much crammed in, you know, the cards are too small for the artwork, basically. And that's valid, right? If you feel that way, totally fine. My perception of this deck was, wow, that is so gorgeous, and I didn't know that there were all these different styles of decks, and that's really kind of what set me on my way. So like, look at this Lovers. So the book shows a bigger image, which is cool, and then has sort of like a description of what you see in the card and then the meaning. So I think that's really awesome too. I'm not sure if I'm holding that in the right place. based on my light, but I think it should be okay. So again, valid complaint if this is just too much for you, it's too busy, right? I love it. Here's the Fool. And this is the one that really kind of set me searching online. I'm like, what other tarot decks are there? What, you know, this one really kind of started that whole thing. And I love, like, here's the Two of Swords. I love all the different things going on in the card. And really kind of spending time and kind of climbing into it. Now, if you want like a really quick read, if you're throwing down a Celtic cross and you just kind of want to see what the path is, this probably isn't the best deck for you if you feel like overwhelmed by how it looks. I could still read it fine that way, but it's because I've used this over and over. So here's the Tower, just beautiful. So again, just maybe if you're thinking, oh, that's probably too busy for me, maybe use it more like an oracle and just spend some time kind of climbing into each card. The World, oh, it's just beautiful. There is a bigger version, a version of this that has bigger cards. I think it's maybe a Czech version or something like that. And that's kind of in the back of my mind to grab someday. But again, this is great for me now. Shadowscapes by Stephanie Pumanla and Barbara Moore. So this is definitely the one that kind of set me on my quest. Last but not least, your favorite deck from your collection. So this is a really, really hard question to answer. I have lots of favorites. I use lots of decks. I don't really have a go-to. Aside from the Crystal Tarot that I had showed and that I talked about in other videos, not because it's my favorite artwork or anything like that, but because it just really made sense to use in the shop where I was working. And so when I was doing a lot of in-person readings before lockdown, that one has definitely had the most use. Oh, now that I've been home for months and I have more time for my personal tarot stuff, it might be kind of being edged out. But aside from that I was using in a specific place for a specific reason, I don't really have a go-to deck. I use all of my decks. Now, some of them I haven't used in quite a while, but whatever mood I'm in, I think, oh, I want to grab this, or it's just part of my intuitive process. Whatever I'm thinking about that day, or whatever, if I have a specific question, a lot of times I just draw and just see what comes up, and I journal and reflect on that. I just kind of pick a deck based on the day. But to answer the question, and I have changed this, so I think I'll give both. I don't know. We're at 32 minutes. Is anyone still watching this? I don't know. So originally when I did this video, I chose the Way Home Tarot as my favorite. And now these decks are a little similar, I think. So I'm just going to show both because I'm just a cheater, I guess. So the Way Home Tarot by Bakra Wintner and Autumn Whitehurst. This is a really great all-around deck, right? If I just close my eyes and think, okay, what are some of my favorites? I mean, Spacious Tarot comes to mind, Lost Forest comes to mind, Idiosycradeck that I've been searching for comes to mind, right? Because how badly did I want that? So, but if I'm just thinking about my favorite, this card pops into my head, the Universe, which is like the world card in The Way Home. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love this so much. It's just amazing. The Three of Wands, this little cosmic gateway, but it also has that earthy element. I just love so many of the images in this. The Ten of Pentacles, this is one of my favorites. Look how beautiful that is. The Aces involve sacred geometry, so that is really something I love. And this deck, you'll see how slippery it is. So, which is maybe not my favorite part about it, but it's fine. But if you are looking for a really slidey, slippery deck that you can riffle shuffle, you might love this. The other main thing that I really love about this deck are that, oh, first the strength card, because I'm not a huge fan of the typical Rider-Waite-Smith strength card, not for really any particular reason. I just don't, I don't know, it's just not my favorite. This is like my ideal strength card. Just, it really is. The courts in this deck show like an embodiment of the energy within the silhouette. So like here's Mother of Pentacles, be like Queen Pentacles, right? And it just shows again like the outline or silhouette. Look at this Fortune card with the constellations and the Ferris wheel. It's just really beautiful. Son of Pentacles, right? We have again, we have that sort of keyword or phrase given to us by that internalized image, right? I just really love it. Son of Cups, right? The deep cavern within. It's just beautiful. So Mother of Wands, I just keep showing because that's how much I love this deck. So this is a great one. Same creators that wrote WTF is Tarot, which I really enjoy. Though I will say their description of the courts in the book are not my favorite. They kind of really pigeonhole those character energies, and that's not really how I read them. It's kind of funny, but in a working way, I don't really use that. But that's fine. I don't have to love the whole thing. I love this deck. My other favorite that I had a really hard time going back and forth, I think would be the Lily White Tarot. So here I am showing two decks. This is also available in a mini now, and I probably have to have it because I love mini. So Lily White, I also have the Lily Black. I love them both. I love this one probably a little more than Lily Black, but they're great for light and shadow readings. This deck, I just really love this deck. I love the artwork of the people. I'm really picky about people. I love the artwork. Ten of Cups with the fish. I love everything about this deck. I love the color palette. I love the feel of the cards. Two of Swords. And this deck really works so great, like paired with so many oracles because of the color palette, I think. It just is really, look at this Six of Cups. It's just gorgeous. So a really close toss-up between this Lily White and the Way Home. Four Pentacles. The Sun card, which is not always my favorite. So when I'm like, oh, the Sun card, right, it must be this Empress, probably my favorite Empress ever. I was watching a walkthrough of this way back when, and I stopped the video after I saw this card and went and bought it because just knew I had to have it. I think this is the Page. The Heart. Yeah, I think this is the Page of Cups. I haven't used this one in a while, so the court symbols kind of confuse me sometimes. So that's something to know. But yeah, just really beautiful. And I'm showing all the really pastel-y things. So like here's the Chariot. Let me show you this different color palette so you might get a better idea. King of Wands. So anyway, that's that. I'll stop rambling. I love the Lily White and I love the Way Home. And one of those two is probably my favorite deck in my collection. That makes me think of another clarifier though, like my soul deck, Talking to the Moon. That's, you know, would I say that's my favorite? I don't know. I love it a lot. It makes a great pair to this one because it's a lot darker, but anyway, I'll say Lily White, final answer. That's my favorite. Now I'll probably buy the mini today. Thanks a lot, friends. Okay, so I think I have successfully completed this video. I think when I watch the playback, there will be sound and I won't have a silent video that I have to put in the little delete bin. So congratulations to me for finally completing this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm coming up on 40 minutes like I often do, but thank you so much. I will put all of the deck titles and creators in the description for you. I will also put the link to Brant's channel, obviously. Thank you, Brant at Moonbaby, for coming up with this tarot tag. I've really enjoyed watching all these. If you would like to participate, please feel free to put your answers in the comments, or if you're a creator, feel free to let me know that you've done a video as well, and I would love to watch. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, love to you all.